Hi everybody and welcome to this week's Art Club. How's everyone today? So this week there is a clue on the envelope for our club what we will be looking at. There's a sun on there. So if you have with you your Art Club envelope, not opened, and something to draw with, colours, whatever you usually use, scissors, and if you have a pencil eraser or rubber, this will come in handy today as well. So as I say, I've been thinking about the sun this week. At the moment, as I'm recording this, we've come into the summer, and there's a special day coming up, which is the Summer Solstice, which you might have heard of and you might not have heard of. It is the longest day of the year. The 21st of June comes around each year, and it's the day when the sun is in the sky for the longest, and sometimes it doesn't get dark till very late in the evening. And it's been marked in lots of different ways over time. People sometimes have a dance to celebrate the sun, or do a piece of art, make a poem, make a story. You can find your own way to celebrate. And hopefully this year we have the sun shining, so you get a really long, bright day. So I was thinking this week about that, and I was thinking about how can we celebrate the sun. So before we begin, I'm just going to show you some pictures that I like that are from different times in history of how people have shown the sun. So here's a few examples here. And you can see that they've put a face into the sun. So one of them is from a few hundred years ago, and the other is from much more recently, just a few, maybe 20, 30 years ago. And you can see that in both pictures, they've made the sun have a personality, given it a face, very serious or smiling and very friendly. And this is really common in lots of images kind of showing the sun. It's often kind of given personality, a human face, and kind of either frowning or smiling or maybe calm, serene. It's depicted in lots of different ways. So let's have a look at some more examples. And so here's another example, and again you can see frowning and some are smiling. Have a look at the shapes that they've used. So there's the circle in the middle with a face, and then they show the sun rays, so all the sunlight coming off the sun, and sometimes it's in spikes or triangles, sometimes it's in wavy shapes, kind of geometric shapes all around the circle. So we'll be thinking about that today, and here's some other examples just to show that again. You have your circle, your face, and then these shapes kind of coming off the outside, wavy shapes, spiky shapes. So I'll show you one more image, and this is what's really inspired me for what we're making this week. There's an artist called Alexander Calder, and he was an American artist, and he makes these mobiles, and you can see them here. They're really beautiful. It's all about creating balance, and that they had a slight bit of movement. They'd move around a little bit, and all these geometric shapes all over them. So they're really lovely to see in real life if you ever get the opportunity to see them, but even here you can see that they are really nice. You might be familiar with mobiles. Maybe you've had a mobile hanging over your bed at some stage, or you've seen them somewhere. Okay, so for this week's art club, I was thinking let's make our very own Alexander Calder inspired mobile, where we're thinking about the summer solstice, we're thinking about the sun, we're thinking about the moon, or you might think the earth. Imagine that you're building a solar system. So what would you like to include? When we did this in class, some people included stars, they included aliens, they included things like weather, clouds, and things like that. So I'll show you how to make these basic shapes, how to hang it together, and then you might think of different things that you'd like to hang off it, as well as a sun. Now I've done a sun and a moon on this one. You can see a face with the sunshine shapes coming off it, and my moon doesn't have a face actually. I think I should add a face to that one. So how do we make it? Why don't you guys open your art packs and see what materials are included inside there, and then we'll discuss how that is gonna come together to make your own very unique sun inspired solar system mobile. Okay, so in your art pack you have got a piece of yellow paper, which we might use to make the sun. You've got a piece of blue paper, which you might use to make your moon or maybe your earth. And any scraps that you have left over, you could decide to make stars or something else and add them on as well. You have also got a brown bag in there, and in there you have a piece of wire. It's kind of hard to see on the screen, but there's a piece of very lovely fine wire. And actually this wire comes from florists, because florists who make up bunches of flowers for people, they use these lovely fine wires with their flowers. So that's a really nice wire to use. And we also have got a piece of wool in there as well. And finally, there is a piece of paper with some circles on it. Now this bit is you can use or not use. I'll show you what my intention was with it, but you might like to just ignore that. So how do we begin? I'm going to show you how to make the sun and the moon. So with the template, which is this white piece with the circles, if you'd like help making your circles for your sun and your moon, you can use this. So for this big shape, I'm going to use that for my sun as the base. I'm going to get the white paper and the yellow on top and go to a bright window, like the one behind me here. And I'm going to be able to trace through that circle. So over here, I'm going to trace my circle. And you will get a circle on your page. That can be the base for your sun. If you prefer, ignore this completely and make your very own circle. You might have something that you could use as almost a stencil, and you could go around it to make yours. But that was just in case people wanted it. And once you have the circle, you can add your sunshine pieces around it. So your sun beams and sunlight. So as we saw in those images, which are up on the screen now, you can see that as well as the circle and a face, they added in these shapes. So I'm going to just go with something quite simple, just do triangles around. But you can take your time and you can do any kind of shapes and designs around the outside. Then you can also take your time to draw a face on here. What kind of sun are you going to draw? And then you're going to cut that out, and you'll see once you've cut it out, like my one here, that there is two sides. So as well as this side, you might decide then to draw something on here, like another face. So maybe this one has its eyes closed. I might make this one with its eyes open. So that. Or you might do something, your own design. Okay, and then once you've done that, you can get your template again if you want to use that, and your blue paper. And you can go back to the window and you can trace a circle, or you can just freehand draw your circle. So I'm going to just draw my circle here based on my template and cut that out to give me my little moon. And I've already drawn a face on this one, and I think I'll draw a face on the other side as well. So this one, let's see, do a different kind of character. So you can see I have two sides. Now this is the point where you might decide that you've got leftover blue card and you've got leftover yellow card, and you might like to make things like stars or comets or little messages or clouds. Some people make clouds, some people made rainbows that they could attach together. Now here's the clever trick. Once you have all your shapes that you are ready to use, if you want to put holes into paper, there's a great trick for that, which is all you need is your pencil, and if you have a rubber or eraser, and I'll bring you down here to have a look, and I'm going to put down this colour paper so you can see. Put my eraser down, then I'll put my shape, my sun shape down as well, Where I want to put the hole is here. So I'm going to place that there. So the razor behind, and then I'm going to poke a hole through the paper down through to the eraser. And that eraser is going to protect the table underneath and protect your fingers. And it's a really safe way to make a really small hole. And then I'm going to do the same. I have my eraser here, my moon. I'm going to put that down. And then with my pencil, I'm going to poke a hole through the paper, through to the eraser, and there is a hole going through there now. All right, so you've got your shapes ready to go. They have been drawn on, they've got holes in them, and they're ready to hang on. So again, I'm going to use this one just so you can see very well. You just need to straighten out your wire, and you're just going to put a V bend in the end, so to make a hook, and come to the other end, and you're going to put a V hook on that end like that. And in the middle, if you put another V, like an upside down V or an upside down U, this will be where you hang it from, and these are where you're going to hang your other pieces from. So should you just decide you're going to do the sun and the moon and that's it, you can just take your piece and put the wire through that hole on one end. There's one there, done. And then take your other piece and put the wire through that hole. So then you have your two pieces hanging, and you'll see that you can play around with the wire as to which way you want them to hang. Do you want this one to hang in very close or maybe far away? You can decide. And then you take your piece of wool, and where you've done your upside down V here in the middle is where you're going to tie on a piece of wool, and you can do it any which way you like. And that is where you are going to hang your mobile from. So let's just say I've done that there now. I can hang my mobile up, and you will notice things like even the fact that this bit of wool is still hanging here. There's like an extra piece. If you wanted, you could always tie something on there. Some people in the class had some extra bits of string and wool, and they actually tied things on as well. If you made lots of different shapes, you can thread them on your wire all across the wire and decide where you're going to put each one. And you could almost create a whole solar system. What you will discover is that because it's a lovely florist wire, it's very fine and delicate, the mobile has a little bit of a kind of lovely bounce to it, kind of a bit of movement to it. So you can hang it really anywhere, especially if you hang it somewhere where there's a little bit of a draft, or maybe near a window or a door or something like that. You'll see that if it has space to turn, it will do a little bit of movement. Just like Alexander Calder's lovely mobiles that we were looking at earlier today. And so there you go. There is your mobile to celebrate the sun for the summer solstice next weekend. Yeah, work away. In the class there was people making aliens, rainbows, weather, satellites, lots of different planets. It was brilliant. So you can add lots of things to yours as well. So I hope you have fun making yours. Please share the work if you like, and we'll see you next time. All right, bye-bye.